But what's up, Clubhouse campers, and welcome to Avenue Theater Take 1. I hope you've enjoyed Clubhouse so far and gotten to learn about your performing art in your groups earlier today. My name is Miss Tori. You may have seen me on stage or running around your clubhouses this summer. I used to be the Troy East intern, and then I was a teen at TIP for a long time, and I've probably been at your clubhouse before too, just subbing. So hopefully I'm a familiar face, and if you see me, feel free to say hi and tell me what's going on at camp. So right now, we are going to be talking about how God paints our pictures and makes us beautiful. So, first, we're going to be talking about beauty, and I need all of your opinions. Which shirt is more beautiful? These are my dad's shirts, and he wants my help picking one out to wear. But I don't know. I can't decide. I also have these two scarves. I don't know which one is beautiful either, or more beautiful. Oftentimes, we call clothes and shoes and even our hair beautiful. And we're really worried about what we wear and how we do our hair to be more beautiful. But the thing is, we are already so beautiful. And you know how? We're beautiful because we are ourselves. And God created us. He created us and all other beautiful things on this entire planet. So think about your favorite animal, or think about the most beautiful flower that you've ever seen, or your favorite lake or mountain. All of those beautiful things in nature, God created. And He also created you, except you're a little more special because He created you uniquely. There's no one else like you. Kind of like how if you paint a picture. I know some of you are in a painting group, and if you have been painting pictures, you know that even if you try to do the exact same painting a second time, it's not the same. It is unique, and it is beautiful. Also, the same can be said about pottery. Now, this is definitely not clay like the students in the pottery group have been using. This is just Play-Doh. But I can make things out of it. I can make beautiful things out of it. So just imagine what God can do, because He is the most talented artist. He is the most amazing artist. And so if you and I can paint pretty pictures or make pretty sculptures, just imagine how talented He is and how beautiful you all are, because you're His creations. And if you don't believe me, maybe you should believe God's book, the Holy Bible. Hopefully you all have Bibles at home, or at least at your clubhouses. And if you don't have a Bible at home and you want one, be sure to ask your teen or one of your interns, because we can definitely get you set up with one. So, the Bible tells us that we are created in God's image. So we are created to be like God. But we are definitely not the same as God, because He is all powerful and He is the best creator. But we are created on the inside to be like God. And our beauty comes from our inside. Our beauty comes from our heart and from our character. Now, you might ask, what is heart? Like, what does my heart inside my body have to do with beauty? Because if you've ever seen a picture of a real heart, it's kind of gross looking. But When the Bible talks about our hearts, they don't mean our heart inside of us pumping. That gives us, our heartbeat. They mean our heart as in the way we treat people. If we're being kind to our friends and to our family and to our neighbors. And the same goes for the word character. When the Bible talks about us having character, it's not talking about like the people in a story. It's not talking about the characters in a movie. It's talking about again how we treat others and how we present ourselves towards others. So I just ask you all to remember that if you look at someone and remember to be looking at their inside, at their character and their heart, because that's what makes them beautiful. Now, I would like to read you a couple verses from the Bible that talk about this, that talk about beauty. The first is 1 Peter 3:3-4, and this can be found in the Bible, but it can also be found in your playbills. Hopefully you all have been using your playbills, and if not, your artists, your teens, have your playbills. So if you want to look over these verses, that would be so awesome. So the first verse is, your beauty should not come from outward adornment. That means your beauty shouldn't come from what you're wearing or what you have in your hair. Oh, your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as elaborate or fancy hairstyles and the wearing of gold jewelry or fine clothes. Rather, it should come from that of your inner self, the never-ending beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is very important in God's sight. 1 Peter 3:3-4. And that may be a lot to remember. That's a lot to remember for me. So, take a look at it in your playbill sometime today. Our second verse that talks about how God paints our pictures and makes us beautiful is from 1 Samuel. So it's from a different chapter in the Bible, but it still talks about this. That's how important our inner beauty is to God. He talks about it in different parts of the Bible. 1 Samuel 16:7. Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at things that people look at. People look at outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. Now, that verse talks about the exact same thing we had just talked about earlier, about your heart. Your beauty comes from your heart. So, one other thing I'd like to talk about is, actually I have a question for you all. What makes you beautiful? And again, I'm not talking about what's on the outside. So I don't want anyone to say, oh, my hair makes me beautiful, or my clothes make me beautiful, or my eyes. No, I'm talking about beauty from God. So, is it your generosity? Is it the way that you give to others? Are you a giving person? Is it your kindness? Are you nice to people? Even people who are different than you, or even people who are mean to you? Is it your gentleness, or your joy, or your responsibility, or your love, or your creativity? There's so many ways that God made us beautiful on the inside. So I want you all today to talk about that with your artist, your team. At some point, I want you to tell them one thing about yourself that makes you beautiful. Like here. Here are some examples, but there's way more. And finally, one last reminder to be looking at the verses that we just talked about. The first is from the first actually is from 1 Peter. 1 Peter 3:3-4. And it talks about how our beauty should not be on the outside. And then our second verse that you all should look at is from 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel 16:7. And this verse tells us that our beauty comes from our heart. Now, finally, I think I have to be going because I have a picture to finish painting. So, I just want to remind you that God paints our pictures and makes us beautiful. I hope you have a great rest of your first day at Clubhouse Camp. See you later.